Hey, welcome. There are chairs up here if you wanted. The McGivens, I think, are working their way out. If I knew other people's names, I would make you embarrassed too, but I won't do that. My name's Sally Meisenheimer. I am part of this amazing group of women that we call Vinspire. We've been in a few different locations throughout our life of presenting great programs to the community. We started at the Champlain Wine Company, we moved to the Strand, and now gratefully we are here at Old Soul, and look at everybody that's turned out. Thank you for coming. Katie, the owner of Old Soul, spoke last month in December, and she is an Old Soul. She's a cool person. And luckily we have another cool person tonight. Dana and I met with her for coffee yesterday, and I was like, wow. So I'm going to start with a few adjectives in introducing you. I'm going to maybe make her a little uncomfortable. Her name is Rebecca.
Is it Boyer West?
Boyer West. We were arguing about how to pronounce that. Rebecca Boyer West. And she is body and balance therapy. She's here to talk about a whole different add-on, cool thing in her life that she's been doing. And these are the adjectives I would like to use to describe her. She's vibrant, she's curious, she's insightful, she has infectious energy and good vibrations. Those are all things, hey, we all want to be a part of that. So we're excited to have you here tonight. So Rebecca's going to talk about cycling without age, bridging generations. I know she has a couple people from her team of this nonprofit that she's put together, but I think we would do a disservice if we didn't talk about who Rebecca is as a person. So we're gonna maybe put her on the spot a little bit, and but you are fresh and honest, so let's see what we get from her. So just to start, in fleshing you out, we're gonna do a lightning round. So my name is Rebecca Boyer West, and I am addicted to learning, which she is. So let's talk a little bit about all the family titles you have. You have lots of names in your family, and I think we all just would like to hear about kind of who you are as a family person.
Okay, okay, great.
Geez, I'm a daughter. I'm a mom myself. I'm an aunt. I'm a cousin, a sister to 6 other siblings. I am a Gingans, grandmother to 7, and a wife. Did I say I'm a mom already? I'm a great aunt. Yeah, I'm from a large family, so I have several family names.
So in our, this guy's nice. What's his name?
This is Kari. I'm sorry.
Kari. Okay. Thank you, Kari. So I think what really struck me was that you talked about some inspiration that you've had in your life, and just your dad has given you like all this advice in your life, and you have these endless quotes of things that your father has told you and you've tucked in your heart, and I feel like you just recite those, like, oh, well, my dad told me this. Do you have anything to share there?
Trying to think of those ones that I know it's always a lot about finances that he always gave me. My dad's very influential on me, and
okay. He sounds like just an amazing guy that has just instilled so much in you. So let's just talk about your, those will come to you, I know they will, because they're right in you. So Rebecca started with a bachelor's degree in industrial psychology, and you started at Wyeth, and a lot of people here know you from there as Rebecca. Yes. You grew up as Becky, and now you're Rebecca. And can you talk a little bit about your philosophy at Wyeth? Just like what you were trying to do, even if it wasn't your job description, what you believed in?
Actually, with industrial organizational psychology is to study people in the workplace, but part of that is people development. And I think that aside from the roles that I did play at Wyeth, I was always trying to help others improve themselves or live their best life. So regardless of, so when I was in a management position and I had people that reported to me, it was trying to connect them with, if they weren't happy with their job, even in my department, it was trying to find them a position that would make them happy. What was it that they wanted to aspire to do? And if it wasn't in the department, if it wasn't in the facility, to always push them to better themselves, whether it's to constantly learn. And so that, yeah, it was always helping people to live their best life.
So you also, when we talked, you called it Plan B.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
okay, so she'll talk more about Plan B because I feel like that really goes into
Yes.
everything that you've done, and she has a ton of titles. I'll just say them. It's a lot. She's a personal trainer. It's so good. She's a personal trainer, a Zumba instructor. Used to be, but I think she still has it in her. A health coach, a nutrition coach, a labor massage therapist, meaning in the birthing of babies, a medical massage therapist, an end-of-life doula. So she's from beginning to end. And I feel like your background in psychology and how you just invested in people and always wanted the best for them, that's what has kind of led you on this journey. So can you talk a little bit about your Plan B and how you got into that?
Sure. So back at Wyeth, and I have, these people coming in for their first one-on-ones, and during the conversation, I'd ask them, so what is your Plan B? And their reaction was, well, what do you know that I don't know? It's like, well, no. What's your Plan B? If I said I don't know anything, and I truly didn't. This was years before the facility was closing. That had nothing to do with it. It was, again, trying to tap into what makes them them and makes them happy. And so over the course of that, I found out that one wanted to be a hairdresser. Had nothing to do with the job that she was doing. So get her on the path of looking into that and going after it, and she did. And it was just things like that. So then, but then they came back on me. What's your Plan B? They were kind of right. I didn't have one. And I think it was because that, oh, here comes my dad. That my dad, I knew he'd come back. My dad, had always taught us to never live outside our means. A car and a house was the two things that he said that you can have a payment for. Anything other than that, if you can't pay for it in cash or it's not in the bank to cover it, then you don't buy it. And if you're fortunate enough to spend a life with somebody, try very hard to live on one income, because you never know if that other income is going to be taken away for whatever reason. So when people ask me about Plan B, I was never really concerned if I had to change, because I knew I would be okay. And I would be excited to, what's the next chapter? And, that's the way I looked at it. But they really got me thinking, and I really didn't know. And all of a sudden I found myself looking at massage therapy classes and what that entails. And I'm like, what am I looking at this for? I can't touch people. Shut the computer down. That was weird. And I thought, well, maybe it's because I had, gotten into personal training, become a personal trainer, and I was becoming more and more involved in the human body. And a little while later, there I am again, looking at these courses. I'm like, what am I doing? My gosh, So anyways, that drive, that gut continued. And, advances forward, I did leave Wyeth, and eventually, that was going to be ending anyways. And I just, that drive, it's like massage therapy. And I'm thinking, when people say that they had a calling, well, that kind of freaks me out. I mean, nobody called me. I don't hear any voices. I refer to it as a gut, and the gut feeling. And so it was so strong. I was like, forget it. I have to pursue this. I have to see what this is about. And so I enrolled in massage therapy school down in Albany. And I will never forget the first day there. They put you all around the circle, and why are you here? Because I want to help people and so forth, yada yada. They get to me, and I said, I have no idea. And I said, I'm serious. I have no idea, other than I have this really strong drive to be here, but I don't know why. And then I was really nervous about it, but still, I can't touch people. I asked the instructor, I said, how long will it be before I know that this is not for me? And he goes, 3 days. I said, oh good, I'm not gonna waste my time. So, day 3 comes, I'm still scared to death. But then I have my father in me, who, lesson number 2, if you start anything at all, I don't care if you hate it, you can't stand it, whatever, you will finish. Whether it's a sport, my daughter's nodding her head. And I'm so thankful for that, because boy, I'll tell you, I really didn't know why I was there for the longest time. And it was a challenge, and but it's been the greatest thing ever. The greatest. And by the way, I can touch people now.
So that, along with, you had said just from the outset, you're extremely curious, you love to investigate, and you love root cause analysis. And can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think those are perfect lead-ins to this latest venture.
Okay. Yes, actually, there's former colleagues from YF here that can attest to the root cause analysis training. I was very fortunate through my degree, my background, and all of my experience and so forth at a pharmaceutical company. One of them being root cause analysis and investigations, and that was the absolute greatest training, because I apply that to my life. I apply that to everything. I apply that now in my work. So if someone comes, to me with an issue, with a problem, sure, I can make you temporarily feel better. But how did we get here? We keep on backing up, getting to root cause. And it might even be looking at, how they sleep, how they sit in the car, and so on and so forth. And so that it's not a temporary relief. And finding out root cause. And
so where is this leading? This is leading to you during COVID. Okay, and your sister. You want to talk a little bit about that? And then what you observed during COVID. I think the people that Rebecca worked with during COVID in her medical massage practice were isolated. And so she started noticing things that you felt you could change.
Yeah. And maybe I jump right into that. Can I bring that that photo up?
Maybe you can you?
Yes, you can.
I think it's in my presentation, so I should be able to.
Yes, the projector should be coming on now. I had it off for a minute. You may have.
I'm just gonna actually. Well, I don't need to play it yet. I just want to get to this picture here. Can you see it on there? Oh, I guess it's tiny. So that's my. Oh. He disappeared.
There we go.
There you go. That's good.
It's being sketchy.
I just and hopefully you see this. Everyone has their own personal experiences and stories during COVID, and this is my flashing one. Watch quick, it's going to disappear. Anyways, that's my friend Ronnie and his daughter Roxanne. And it looks like a cheerful picture, but it's that classic that her father was on the inside at Pine Harbor and she was on the outside. And Roxanne visited her dad every day. I saw him twice a week for personal training. And then, as everyone knows, COVID hit, and then that just, cut everything off. Prior to that, Ronnie was vibrant. He sure, he was in his 80s, but he didn't have any glaring, terrible medical issues and so forth. He just, went along. He actually was at Pine Harbor only because of fall risk, and it was closer to her. He used to live in Ellenburg. So yeah, I went and saw Ronnie twice a week, and Roxanne was there every day. COVID hit, and it was like within 4 months that Roxanne gets the call. Her dad's in the hospital, and they didn't really have an explanation as to why. And sure, again, he's in the 80s and so forth. Not a shocking, unexpected when somebody's older. But he did eventually pass that October. It wasn't from COVID or anything. And we can't say that it was the loneliness, the isolation and the depression that took him. But I firmly believe that contributed to his decline, because it just happened so quickly, so surprisingly. And so that that happened, and then after, what happened before? Was it the video? Well, anyways, it kind of hit me like a 2x4. Because what I'm going to share with you tonight about cycling without age, I had seen that and thought, oh, I'm going to bring that to our community someday. And then this occurred, and it hit me that, okay, we got to do something now. But it's not just COVID. This isolation, this depression, and loneliness existed long before COVID. And it's going to exist long after COVID, because Ronnie was very fortunate. He had a daughter who was local and could see him every day. With working at Lake Forest and in Pine Harbor, it's quite surprising how many people are not local there. They are not from here. And so they don't have a daughter that can visit them every day. So this loneliness and that separation and just being by themselves, it's here. And that's when I felt like I had to do something about it.
My name is Fraser. I'm 20 years old, and I take elderly residents out from a care home for cycle rides. So at the moment we're running about 4 to 5 rides a week. That's really been down to the huge response we've had from volunteers. It's such a feel-good project that people can give their time to.
When I started going out, I thought it was marvellous, miraculous to just go on a bike.
You ready? Yes. All set.
Such a change to get out of the four walls. I really enjoy it. The fresh air and the wind in your hair. It's just amazing. The hills are alive with the sound of music.
My mum treats Fraser almost like an extension to the family. The home is a nice environment, and she gets taken out regularly, but it's always home to car to coffee shops. I think it's amazing what Fraser is doing.
Residents like Mary, they've really started to see the transformative effect it's had on her general outlook on life. She lights up when they come into the care home.
A fine wee lass, a bonny wee lass, a bonny wee Jeannie McCall. I gave her my mother's engagement ring and a bonny wee tartan shawl.
I have been looking forward to this day for a long time. It's like a Victorian carriage, minus the horse, but then you don't need a horse if you've got a strong pair of legs behind you. I'll let you see my new sunglasses there.
Oh yeah,
There you are.
oh lovely. Yeah. Very fancy.
I have noticed a difference in Mary. Her eyes are completely different. They're back to what they were years ago.
Everyone has some time in their lives that they could give back to the elderly generation and offer them opportunities like this that they wouldn't get otherwise, and really share their stories and celebrate how they've lived their life. I think projects like this can make society better.
I'm actually going to stand. Am I going to make that thing sound?
Just don't get in front of this. As long as you're behind that speaker, you should be good.
Okay. All right, good. So yeah, I saw that video and thought that I had to bring this to our community someday. And that someday was going to be closer when I retired. So when anybody asks me where I'm at with my project, I'm 10 to 15 years ahead of schedule, so we're always good. Okay, so we talked about running. All right, so Cycling Without Age, it's a non-profit international organization that takes elder adults and less able citizens of all ages for free bike rides on specialized e-bikes called trishaws. Established in 2012 in Copenhagen, Denmark, and now represented worldwide, provides an opportunity to experience life beyond the confines of a home, a residence, or facility. It gives the right to the wind in their hair, that's their slogan, the ability to connect with nature, and a chance to share stories. It's now spanning over 37 countries, actually I think that's over 50 now. Hundreds of thousands of people have been on rides, breaking them free of social isolation, loneliness, and depression. It promotes active citizenship. The effects are profound both physically and mentally, and this is all based on 100% volunteerism. So back in October 2022, a local planning committee was formed. I had, it was just a thought that I had, and I talked with Bruce Garcia. Some people might know who that is. He's the former director of JCEO. And I told him, sent him that video, told him my idea, and I said, I need help. And he says, I know who to contact. And at that time, he contacted Maria Alexander from the Senior Citizen Council. And within weeks, I had people to create this local planning committee. We have representation from Office for the Aging as well, Advocacy and Resources, the ARC, JCEO, AmeriCorps Seniors, Catholic Charities. Actually, Kate is here this evening. She's one of the team members. And other community members, I see Lisa is here, that are involved. And so I'm just looking around the room. John Grotto over here is helping as well. So anyways, we have a group of people that came together and met back starting in October 2022. And in that little bit of time, we have been able to establish that we are on the map. And what that means is that we are officially a chapter. Our chapter is called Adirondack Coast. And yeah, I think that was all I wanted to say on that particular slide. Cycling Without Age has 5 guiding principles: generosity, slowness, storytelling, relationships, and without age. I'm going to touch upon them just briefly. The generosity, it's generosity and kindness. It starts with taking 1 or 2 elder adults or less able people out on a bike ride. And generosity, it's a simple act everyone can do. Oops. Slowness. Slowness allows you to sense the environment and to be present in the moment. It allows people you meet along the way to become curious and gain knowledge about Cycling Without Age, because the pilots, the people who are driving the trishaw, we call them pilots, they will stop and take the time to talk. And underneath slowness, I just want to point out, yes, these are electric assisted e-bikes, but you're not going to see these flying down Route 3.
Oh, darn.
We go a max of 10 miles per hour. Storytelling. Our elders have so many stories that will be forgotten if we do not reach out and listen to them. It gives them a sense of purpose by sharing. And relationships, it's about creating new ones, building relationships between generations, among elders, between pilots and passengers, nursing homes, senior centers, employees, and family members. Relationships build trust, happiness, and improve quality of life. And without age, life doesn't end at 75. Life unfolds at all ages, young and old. It can be fun, sad.
Oh, we love you.
Beautiful and meaningful. And Cycling Without Age is about letting people age in a positive context. Can I tell them?
Yes, you may. Yes, share.
My dad's not well. Pretty much. Okay.
He's in good care right now.
Yeah. Okay, it's transformative on many levels. For the passengers, it gives them a new sense of purpose and freedom. It offers opportunities not otherwise available. It helps them feel valued, part of society with less social isolation and depression, has both physical and psychological impacts that permeate throughout the residence. New stories, friendship, and hope, this all leads to social change. The pilots, it gives them fulfillment by giving back to their community. Improvement of their own health by cycling. A lot of chapters have connections with the local medical offices, and so the doctors will actually give a prescription of, why don't you check out Cycling Without Age, when they want to start getting moving and so forth, or getting involved in volunteering. It gives them a new sense of purpose. There are some times that people, when they retire, they lose that sense of purpose of what they used to do every single day. So even for them, it gives them a new sense of purpose. And pilots truly enjoy the experience. I have met some pilots, and they just cannot say enough of how much this has changed their life. The community, it enriches the community as a whole. It promotes volunteerism and healthy opportunities. It fosters intergenerational relationships, closing that gap. Encourages a bike-friendly environment and provides an empowering message for a stronger and cohesive society, making the world a more peaceful, joyful, and united place. The Trishaws. They are specialized bikes built in Copenhagen by Trial Bike. There are no such bikes in North America. They incorporate safety features not found on regular bikes or trikes. They are electric assist and hold 2 passengers plus the pilot. And they have options such as the rain hood and fitted insulated blankets.
That's nice.
Yeah. The cost, it's not cheap, but well worth it. This is just approximate, including shipping. It goes anywhere from like $14,000 to $16,000. All depends on what model you are choosing. Our committee's initial goal was to raise $40,000 to purchase 2 Trishaws, along with the fitted insulated blankets, helmets, and other initial startup costs. Our estimated annual budget after that would be anywhere between $2,000 to $4,000 for bike maintenance if we had to pay for that. Insurance is the biggest piece, background checks, training materials, and so forth. So what will success look like? Well, perhaps it'll be apparent. Hearing all the new stories, seeing those once confined to a residence or a wheelchair enjoy the outdoors again, feeling free with the wind in their hair, bringing people together, promoting social change and cohesion, empowering people to be active volunteers, and bringing purpose to life. This slide is busy, and the only reason why I put this up here is so that I'm one to always make sure we have things backed up by studies. And when it comes to Cycling Without Age, the studies are already done. The studies are already out there to prove that social benefits. It does foster intergenerational friendships. It reduces ageism and stereotypes against aging adults and youth. connects elder adults with their communities. The health benefits, both physical and mental. It does reduce social isolation, depression, and anxiety. It reduces physical and mental decline. It improves sleep. It improves overall health and well-being, increases disability recovery for elderly patients. So they found that if somebody was recovering from something, they actually recovered faster when they had this opportunity of cycling without age and getting them out. Increases feelings of energy, vitality, and self-esteem. So what goes into the ride? It's a lot more than just a pilot bringing a couple of people out. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that's going on. Obviously, we need money, fundraising, and sponsorships. Someone looking and gathering safe bike routes, which is what John over here has done already on some areas. The pilot background checks and training. I just want to point out on that one. All pilots are background checked. And when it comes to training, yeah, someone's not just going to hop on this bike and go. There's actual training, hands-on training to ensure that the pilot is comfortable with doing this before they, have two people in the bike itself. So, data collection, marketing, communications. Where's Kim? Hey, I'm Kim. So Kim has graciously, she's building our website. Which is awesome. We need help with whether it's social media, Facebook posts, blogging, you name it, we need it. And if that, it's something that you'd be interested in, we want to hear from you. Okay, I think that's it on that. So you get the point. There's a lot of behind the scenes. So Cycling Without Age, it's beyond the pilot itself. This slide is just to remind me to show people that with Cycling Without Age, it being an international company, organization, they have an online community website, so we don't need to reinvent the wheel. If we are looking to do something in particular, we just go here and we see what other chapters are doing. They put their best practices and so forth here, so that's a really excellent resource to have. What's in progress, our next steps: establish community connections and relationships, like what I'm doing here and now, getting the word out, recruiting volunteers to set up an organized and energetic program that will grow and continue for years to come. We are in the process of creating a 501c3. JCO graciously has been our interim fiscal sponsor, for donations and so forth in the meantime. That has been fantastic for us to get us going. So we're trying to secure funds to purchase 2 trishaws and other essential startup items that I had mentioned earlier. And I'm pleased to announce that we have our first trishaw. So logistics, I get the question all the time, so where are you housing these? Well, it's going to vary. It's going to vary. Our first bike is actually being housed at the ARC location. They had the space and graciously offered for us to use it. As we, the big vision to continue to get more trishaws and expand, the next one might be in a secured garage in Rouse's Point. And so that then that community can be impacted and so forth. Another option is that, we wish to purchase a travel trailer, because not everybody is at a location where you can just take the bike, take people, and take them out on rides. It might be somebody that, a mom, a grandmother, their daughter calls from another state. Can you bring out my grandmother? She lives on such and such Cornelia Street. Well, that's not really a good place, so might have to bring her to another location. We would travel that trishaw there and coordinate it that way. So the travel trailer itself might become a storage, option, but other locations would be, to be determined as we get more bikes. So how can you help? First of all, if any of this interests you and you want to get involved, to volunteer somehow, fantastic. If not, please pass this on. You may know somebody who would love this and would love to get involved, and by all means, please tell them about us. and to get others to volunteer. I do have volunteer recruitment sheets here that will give the information, just give some ideas of areas that you could volunteer, and we'll get those out to you so you can take. Funding, if you know of a funding source that we could reach out to, we've been working on grants and company sponsorships will eventually come. We haven't developed our sponsorships yet, but donations themselves, with JCO being our fiscal sponsor, they can be made now to JCO as long as it indicates that Cycling Without Age Adirondack Coast is in the memo. If you did it by a check, if you go online, they actually have added us to a drop down. It's fantastic. So that's the donations, the grants, the sponsorship piece. If you know of any way that can help us with that. But the last thing is client referrals. Keep our target audience in mind. Connect us with organizations that support them, so that we can make sure that we are reaching the people that need to get out. I think this should be it. There we go. Oops. Click happy. So yeah, that we can time for questions and
So
so forth.
let's sit down and move over and.
I have a question. So my question is, did anybody ride a bike as a kid? Can we see a show of hands? You remember what that felt like? Oh yeah, especially when your mother and father didn't know where you were, and you were just out until it was supper time. And what about anybody ride bikes as adults? I ride two kinds of bikes. I try to ride on the road a little, but I ride a coaster bike around my neighborhood. And sometimes the kids say, hey, that's a cool bike. So I love bike riding. I can see what that does for people. My question is how do you safely get people on board without, if you're the pilot, can I move people? How does that happen? If you show up at Pine Harbor, what happens?
That's a very good question. So when in the training in our handbook, it will tell you that that is not our position to lift and move people. That would have to be done by either staff at a facility or a family member and so forth. So that responsibility would not be on the pilot.
What about questions? Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question.
What is your name? Because I feel like
I'm a ringer. I'm a plant. My name's Kate. My question is, so I like to bicycle, but I've never been on an e-bike, and I'm not like a road fancy cyclist like Mr. Grotto over there. I'm not like part of the Spandex Nation. Could I be a pilot just because, I want to? And what if I don't have a lot of time? What if I just have a couple of hours to give?
That's an excellent question, Kate. Yes, you do not have to be an experienced e-bike cyclist, to do this. And because I'm not, I haven't driven an e-bike. The Trishaw is the first e-bike I've driven, to be quite honest. So to answer that question, yes, you certainly can. And as it goes for the hours, I hope that we have so many volunteers that it's a problem for them to get a time spot to bring somebody out. So whether somebody wants to set up that once a month on Tuesdays, if the weather's good, I'm going to do this for an hour, that's fantastic, because we are going to have a very long list of people that this can reach. And so I hope that these wheels are rolling every minute the weather's good. Yes.
If you're at one facility, it's an hour ride for two clients. Can you stay there for like 8 hours and ride two more clients for another hour and another hour?
Yeah, the question was that if we're at a facility, can we stay there for a period of 8 hours to bring out multiple? Absolutely, and that's exactly what we foresee. Like Lake Forest, for example, we're working with them. Yes, they see us setting up a day. And then we would be, getting our pilots lined up, and it might be multiple pilots. It may not be the one pilot for that whole entire day. But yeah, it would be organized and set up to take to the people out. I plan to do that down in Keysville for Sunmount. Yes, Kim.
So what does the training look like? Is it like for the pilot? Is it in-person training or videos? Because like there's some kind of like, I know that you're making those safe routes, but there are courses about Plattsburgh itself or other areas. So what does it look like for teaching the rules of the road and training the pilot?
The training consists of, we have a handbook. So there's going to be the going through and looking the handbook themselves. Then there's going to be in-person training going over the handbook, and then in-person training on the tri-shot itself. And so within that handbook and during the training, yes, it will highlight in regards to making sure that you know the rules of the road and so forth. That answer the question? Did everyone hear the question? I didn't repeat that question, but I'm sorry. Yes.
Do pilots have to be CPR certified?
The question is, do pilots have to be CPR certified? At this point, we have not put that as a requirement. It would be fantastic if they are, just like any position and so forth. But that's not our requirement at this time.
What is the age limits? I'm thinking
For piloting?
younger. Yeah. What's the younger end of the age limit?
For piloting? 18. Yeah, we were doing 18. 18 and older. Good questions, yes.
What if a pilot is out riding and they suddenly have a medical, the pilot themselves has a medical issue? What do they do? Not the people riding. Call 911.
You want me to handle? Yeah.
Is there an auto?
You have two seniors unattended, we're in trouble.
So yeah, good question. Is that if the pilot was to have trouble themselves while out on a ride, and that's a very good question.
Yeah, you can dial 911. These seniors, they don't remember.
Yep, that's a very good question. I don't think that we have that addressed. I'm phoning a friend.
What's the emergency tag?
Most of the routes that we have planned are very close to the city of Plattsburgh, along the bike lane, along Lake Champlain over near Pine Harbor, along the Ruger Street ride from Plattsburgh State out toward Plattsburgh High School. So no one would be very far away. And we have other routes in Keysville and Rouse's Point and various places. So the pilot would never be far away from help if he needed help or she needed help. So we hope that doesn't happen. But that's it. We're very close, and that shouldn't happen. We have pilots probably up to age 75 or so. And people they self-select to be pilots so that they know their physical conditions.
That is a very good question, though, and thank you for that. Because I'm thinking that there's going to be a lot of scenarios where, yes, you're right. It might be two elder people, and if we were at a facility and bringing those out, that's something to kind of talk with. That okay, the ride is going to be generally about this long, and if you don't come back, someone will go looking for you. No, I'm serious, but that's a very good question. It's a very good question. Something that I'll take note of and take back to the team.
I have a little of an answer. I think the people have enough wisdom to know what to do. Like, you could tell them. Can you help me? Yeah. But I guess I think of this as, I think this is something if you volunteered to do, you might be the rider someday. And that it could be this whole fun generational thing where you've done it and now you get to ride. And I guess I also think, wouldn't it be nice to bring like a little grandchild along for commentary? I don't know if you only have one person, you could bring somebody small to add a little flavor and color to maybe that's not allowed. I'm going off road.
That's after when, okay,
with everyone. Yeah, because this is a family-friendly place, right? You just stop here and then you come back. Sorry.
Are you looking to start in the spring or what?
Good question. The question is, are we looking to start in the spring? Yes, as soon we have our one bike, and you've got the bare minimum in place to get going, and we hope that with the start of new weather, it's going to be kind of like that soft, opening, so to speak. And then later on in the summer, maybe June, don't know yet to be determined, then have kind of like a celebration that, hey, this is live, this is happening. But that question made me think of something I wanted to say, and I forgot. There it goes. It'll come back.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment, which is just thank you, because I think it's really brave to start something like this in a community that's brand new. So thank you. And I also want to say thank you for contributing to a bike culture that we are trying to build in this community that's not just for maybe like the stereotypical group that you would think would be biking, like young kids and then, middle average age. So just thank you for being inclusive in that.
Thank you for that comment. I certainly have been very fortunate with the team of people that have been brought together to make this happen, and we continue to meet awesome people that want to get involved, and I can't wait to see where this goes. Yes.
I think you need more than one bike. So what are you doing for fundraising?
Yeah, how do we
other than donating? Is there?
Sure.
I think it's going to be a hot commodity.
I hope so. And so our initial goal was the 2 bikes, and we raised enough to have enough with one. We will continue. We started with the grants first, and we will continue to do that. And as it goes and again, we need help with this, is that, kind of creating that whole sponsorship level and going to companies and requesting and so forth. And I think it will be easier when we are our own 501c3, but we got to get out there and we got to get that funding. We have to have it continuous for 2 reasons. One, for the annual to keep it going, but then always reaching further and further to get bike number 3, get bike number 4, get bike number 5. And that was part of the reason why with the name, it was Adirondack Coast. So it's not just going to be in the city of Plattsburgh. You're not just going to see that bike in Plattsburgh. You're going to see it maybe in Keysville, Champlain, Moores, wherever. Yes.
So without a trailer, how do you move the bike around? How do you get to Keysville or Peru or Champlain?
At this point, it would have to be a volunteer that had a trailer, and that you would say that would be willing. And again, it would be that whole coordination thing. Oh, I know. I was thinking with your comment, coordination is that we've got the booking piece of it to figure out. Most chapters will use Google Calendar, and that seems to work for them. But we have access to an app at this moment called Book to Go, and it might be something we use, might not be something we use, and depending on cost and so forth, and if it would work well. But we need somebody who likes to look at apps and dig into that and see how it works, and then turn around and tell us, because one person in the team and so forth, we can't do it all, and we need all these little pieces to come together.
Kind of a reverse question from what she had about, will the pilots be trained if one of the riders has an episode, or say you're taking to from, say, the ARC, and someone has a behavior, will they be trained on how to handle that in their kind of way?
Yeah, the question is, will the pilots be trained to handle things that might occur with the riders themselves? So you did mention something with mentioned ARC and or anything with behavioral. Something like that is usually going to have to be accompanied by a person that is trained to do that. So that person being out for a ride might be with their caregiver and them. you know, as it, so there's going to be a lot of times where it's, you know, bringing out a person, but a caregiver right along with them. We do have things in place that if you are taking someone out, that we ask the question ahead of time, do you have any allergies or medical conditions that we need to be aware of? And just kind of emphasize, you know, allergies. Are you allergic to bees? Because if you are, then let's grab that EpiPen in something like that. Making sure that we have a contact number for if there was an emergency that happened with that person while you're out on the ride. Whether it's contacting the facility or contacting a family member of that person. I saw a hand go up somewhere there. Kate.
I was just going to piggyback off of that by saying that to the initial question about concerns of something happening with the pilot, basically we're going to take the principles of volunteer management, and as with any volunteer, the volunteer will always have a point of contact. They'll have the business cards. Volunteers are all covered by insurance. That includes personal liability and health above and beyond their own personal insurance, so you know, supplemental. And they'll have contact numbers just as any volunteer that volunteers under a formal organization. If something happens on assignment or during service, they would have a point of contact during business hour time. And ARC, who's a very close collegial partner, we worked a lot of this stuff out with ARC, and their actual paid staff members are going to be trained as pilots. So they're not just going to be buddies volunteering, they will be coming out as paid staff, and with that, they'll be bringing their own workers' comp, their own insurance and liability with them. So we're trying to cover those bases. And Rebecca says in-person training. It will be, as John, we did a dry run in the fall with John and Rebecca, and the way that it worked is at the U.S. Oval, you can start out like a new rider in a parking lot when you're getting ready on your training wheels to come off, and then you slowly, if you're going out onto the oval during late afternoon hours when it's a bit quieter, you're emulating or you're kind of doing a mock-up of what it would be out like on the trail. So there's going to be a lot of hands-on and shadowing and time to take your time and really spend it with the bike. And when Rebecca says handbook, which each volunteer will have, it is soup to nuts on things like personal safety and liability. There will be agreements signed by each rider, each passenger, each person involved that says, I'm coming to this knowing that there's risks and that, you know, and we're going to have emergency contacts for all volunteers as well, which we can access, you know, if we need to. We'll have mobile phone numbers of the riders and the pilots. Pilots will have a mobile phone. We're collecting a heck of a lot of that kind of data, and Lisa and I work together on the volunteer applications, and that's why it includes, you know, your emergency contact. Who should we call if we get into trouble? You'll have our business cards. So that's to address some of that concern of what can happen. But ultimately, you're correct. If you get out there and say, I want to take the risk of riding, and I think that I'm okay, we're trusting that too. So, sorry.
Did you have a question?
I did, but you sort of answered it because my question was around just general logistics about how would you set up volunteers and time and places. Would people just do that? Like I can do Tuesdays from 1 to 5 or whatever, how that whole piece would be coordinated, and you sort of answered that. And the other question I had was, like, what are just generally, because it's cool that there's obviously been this, has been going around for a while, so there's some experience with it. What are the potential challenges that people have already figured out? I mean, some getting ill or having a medical crisis is a risk we take any day we're out walking around, so that's one thing. But just in general with something like this, because it's very a new idea here, but clearly a lot of those things have been sorted out. So
her curiosity in regards to how we're going to do the scheduling and stuff, that's enough. We can sign her up, right? Done. That piece is taken care of. You're in. Anybody else want to say anything? No.
I like the idea of doing the training, but when you're doing the training, you also might get to ride in the front. So you get to feel what it feels like and really see, the wind in your hair and see what that might be like for people. I think of it as just a super freeing experience and for everyone, and that you're really all out for a bike ride together. And that's that ageless, timeless, let's all be kids on bikes and have fun.
Other questions?
You got one over here.
Oh, yes.
How long would it take to vet a pilot? Like, 'cause I know there's a background check, there's like the training. Is it like expected like 2 months to get somebody onboarded into the program and have the program to like check them out in reverse kind of thing?
So the question is, how long does it take to get somebody to be a pilot? It's about a year. I'm just kidding. So it doesn't take very long at all. In fact, I mean, I know that Kate and Lisa have been working on in regards to the process of, the background check and so forth. And, we've put things in place that, what do we have to wait for versus what do we don't have to wait for. I think that the training piece is going to be the biggest, and hopefully we'll have lots of training set up that it'll accommodate their schedule. And just because they train doesn't mean that they're a pilot the next day. They might decide that they want to take the bike out themselves multiple times after training until they really feel confident. And I'm not saying that because it's that difficult and so forth. It's just that based on personality and based on their comfort level with the bike. But can Kate or Lisa, do you have a couple weeks? Okay, I was trying to get it. Yeah, about a couple weeks.
Mark,
okay.
Mark, did you have a question? No.
You wouldn't be good in an auction.
Yeah, really throw it off.
So there are 2 sheets of wonderful information here, but one of the things that really kind of piques my curiosity is there's also, you can be a bike buddy. So a bike buddy is somebody that just rides along and provides entertainment and more stories. That's what people are looking for, is conversation and support and friendship. And what a great way to kind of get the idea in your head, maybe I could be a pilot too. But there's other things that the organization is looking for: graphic design, videographers, photographers. A bike mechanic is a really big deal, right? Somebody that knows how to fix electric bikes. Other things you want to mention? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think we just found a lawyer. I mean, we were looking for that. So to help us with the 501c3, the nonprofit. Yeah, but I think what comes to mind a lot to me is in regards to the reaching out, the getting the funding, the getting that going. That's huge, because without it, we're not be able to move forward. But in the pieces where that it's not my category in regards to social media and so forth. But I see data collection on here. I'm hoping to connect with Plattsburgh State and connect with that department that does that type of stuff and have it be by an intern and so forth. And these are all great ideas, but we need people to go and make it happen. If you don't know how you can or want to volunteer, no problem. We'll find something. We're going to be at events, I'm sure, and presenting this information. We need little ambassadors out there. So there's room for everybody. So let's talk about what the next bike's going to cost and how people can contribute to that. What would one more bike cost?
Okay, it's still the cost is between 14 and 16. I think our last one that we purchased was close to 15. Was it? It was just under 15,000. And I think that if the next one, if we were to do a different model, it might be just a hair more expensive. What was the second question?
How do people contribute? You need grant funders are great. If anybody knows of grant funding that's available.
Yes, yes.
And then personal contribution too.
Personal contributions and businesses, yes. Both temporary and long term in regards to the now and in the future and annually, and to keep it going. Because again, our goal is not only our goal isn't to get 2 bikes and stop. Our goal is to get 2 bikes, maintain that, and continue to grow and reach more and more and more people.
She said JCEO. Through
where you
JCEO is how you do it right now.
Yeah, right now JCEO is our fiscal sponsor, which means that any donations and so forth is actually made out to them, for us, as long as it's indicated that what you want it to be for. And I think that we've done a great job on grants as well. We've applied for all the ones that we can. Having a fiscal sponsor, there's always sometimes a conflict of interest, where there's some that we're eligible for, but we can't because they have applied for it. So that'll be, we'll go after those afterwards when we become our own. But we're always looking for people to tell us maybe of one that they know that we don't know. Or a company that you work with that they would really want to become involved in this and become, some sort of sponsor for us.
Have you contacted the foundation at the hospital?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
They've been very generous.
They have been very generous, yes.
They love that.
Yeah.
How about a bike ride?
Yeah.
A bike ride.
Fun ride.
Oh, yeah.
Show
that's-
off the bike and everybody
Yeah.
bikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if the larger organization is part, I know with New York State there's NYBC, New York Bicycling Coalition, or the League of American Cyclists. Is Cycling Without Age not affiliated, but partnering at all with either of those organizations, either on the state level or the national level?
Do you, Kate? Anybody?
I don't.
That's not anything I've come across, but that's a good question.
It feels like it'd be very much of a partnership of building that kind of visibility of all ages and also building a bike culture. And I know both of those work either on the state or national level on that. That's how I became.
We have an 80K cycling club too.
Yeah, so I think but it feels really nice to think of all the different ways we can cycle within our communities, whether it be singularly by ourselves or with others.
Okay. Very good comment. Thank you for that.
We can email later.
Do that late tonight. I would like to just say thank you, Rebecca, and thank you everybody that's a part of this Cycling Without Aging. I think we're all so interested and we see the benefit. Also, you guys all have day jobs. We all have day jobs. We all do other things to make a living, and that's really important. Volunteerism and stepping up and doing these things outside of perhaps our comfort zone is really what makes our community vibrant. And so think of that. When you think of saying no, think, I could spare a minute. I could have some wind in my own hair. So there are these sheets up here for more information, and I would just like to say thank you for coming to Vinspire. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Robert, our wonderful bartender tonight. And thank you for this place and all these people that come out to this wonderful Old Soul place. Next month, you're not going to want to miss this. It's called Sex in the City. It's for the month of February. It's Valentine's Day. Hey, let's jazz it up a little bit. It's always fun. It's always a little bit ooh, maybe that might be a little uncomfortable for me, but I think I can learn something. So we're hoping that everybody will show up for that. Bring a partner. So you have somebody to discuss about later. We got some hands-on faces, but yeah, that's the point. And we are the first Thursday of every month at 6 p.m. And I have an email list that will put you on the email, and that comes out a couple of times before the event, so we hope that you'll join us again. Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.